Angle grinders are arguably the most versatile and useful tool in metalwork. However, they can also be the most dangerous. In this video, we're going to go over angle grinders, the different wheels or discs you might use on them, some of my favorite applications, and also how to use it well and be safe while you're at it. These are the 5 angle grinders that I have. They're all 4.5-inch grinders. There's also larger sizes available if you're doing really heavy stuff. But there's some differences between them. These 3 right here are corded and these 2 are cordless. I still prefer corded grinders whenever I'm working near an outlet because they just seem to have a little bit more power. Now, between these different grinders, something that really sets them apart is the type of switch that they have. So these old DeWalt's, these are a little bit higher amperage grinders. These things are pretty powerful and hard to bog down. And they just have a slide switch right here that you can turn on. And if you're doing a lot of heavy grinding, you can turn that on and just not worry too much about it. Now, from a strict safety perspective, this is not as good as a paddle trigger like this right here, where you have to hold it down. So if it got away from you for whatever reason, it would turn off. There are also some with a handle trigger back here. That's more common on larger grinders, but they do make some smaller ones that have that also. Now, another difference between these is the amperage on this Harbor Freight one is quite a bit lower on the motor, so it's a lot easier to bog down. Now, if you're shopping for your first angle grinder, I would look for something with a paddle trigger like this, 4.5-inch grinder, and I wouldn't be afraid of something corded unless you know you're gonna be doing a lot of work on the go. Let's just talk a little bit about installing the different wheels and discs. Each of these 3 installs in a different way. So just about every angle grinder has a threaded spindle here with a backing plate and a nut, and some of the wheels like this will just thread right onto there, and that can be pretty convenient. Tighten it down like that and you're ready to go. When it comes to using these wheels with a standard diameter right there, then you install the backing plate right here, and this has a shoulder on it. But notice these 2 are different thickness. So this is a thinner, about 1/8 of an inch thick wheel, and so you drop that on and it sits basically flush with that shoulder. And so when I install the nut, I want to put it with this side down right there to cinch it in place so it won't sit loose. However, when I'm installing this thicker wheel like that, notice there's still quite a bit of room, and so I can install this the other way around like that with that shoulder down inside the wheel. Just about all grinders have a spindle lock on the back. You just press that button. It prevents it from rotating. They come with a spanner wrench you can use to secure the spindle nut. You don't need to go crazy on how tight it is. But honestly, I usually just grab this together and then crank it tight with the wheel. Then when I'm done, if I just grab the wheel, it'll grab that nut and spin it off. So I don't usually end up using the wrench, but sometimes you end up needing to. I just mentioned the guard here. I know some of the cool kids brag about removing their guards. I think they need to do something more impressive to brag about. But regardless of that, it's a good safety measure in case one of these pressed wheels explodes, or if you have a bunch of debris, or if your hand slides. It's just, it's nice to have there. Now, if you are using a cutoff wheel, a fully contained guard like this is also a good idea. Or on these Milwaukee grinders, it's pretty nice because they have an attachment that just slides right over the existing guard for those situations like that. Now, while we're on the topic of safety, let's just talk about some of the personal protective equipment that I'd recommend. Definitely want to wear safety glasses. You can have stuff flying all over the place, and sometimes you'll lose a big chunk. Or with a wire wheel, some of those will go shooting out like javelins. They're loud. Definitely want to protect your ears one way or another. Noise canceling headphones, don't do that unless they're specially designed to. Breathing, this is a respirator. You probably want a dust mask or a respirator if you're doing a lot of grinding, because it sends a ton of stuff up into the air. Now, full face protection is a good idea beyond just regular safety glasses, and you can wear a face shield, but I usually just use my welding helmet turned onto the grind mode for full face protection. Gloves can also be a good idea, but you want to make sure and keep them far away from that spinning wheel where they could get caught. Let's go over the common wheels and discs that I use, when I choose them, and how to get the most out of them. Let's start off by looking at a standard hard rock grinding wheel. Now, they have a label on them that typically shows the max RPM, as well as if they're a face or an edge grinding wheel, and this can work for both. So I have my workpiece clamped in place and I can get a good grip on the grinder like this. And I'm going to grind on that edge, holding it up at an angle. I'm not trying to use the whole face. I'm trying to use that edge up at about 15 to 30 degrees, and then move as consistently as possible. And you can see just after that first pass, you can get a pretty even bevel with it if you move steadily. So one method, if you are using this to bevel a plate, which is a good use for a hard rock grinding wheel. Honestly, this little grinder is a bit small to bevel some 1/2-inch plate, but it's a good example here. Now, if I work my way across evenly like this, I think that is the method that gives me the most consistent bevel. However, it takes a long time. And so another approach is to just work in about 1-inch long sections like this, and work an inch at a time down to the size that you're shooting for. So a few different approaches there. I'm sure other people have other ways of doing it, but either way can give you a nice bevel with a hard rock grinding wheel. And that's the main place I'd look to use them. They can really gouge your parts if you're trying to dress welds. Now this is a cutoff wheel, and this is one of the most common that you'll see used. I have the full guard like I showed earlier on it, and notice the way that this rotates. I want to position it so it will pull away from me if it were to get caught. So that's what I'm doing here, and then I have a firm grip on the tool, and I just want to allow the tool to do the work, so I'm not pressing too hard into the work. Now I want to keep an eye on the sparks, and I'm standing to the side so they just work their way past me, and let it eat until you make it through, and you can get a pretty nice cut with those. Now they do make these steel ones. This is made for metal, even though it looks like a tile wheel. And I was really excited when I saw these a few years ago because they're supposed to last a lot longer. They won't explode like the other ones. Not that that happens very often. But I found these to be very slow and they vibrate a lot, so I don't like them. I like the traditional style more. Now, when you're cutting through a piece of bar like this, that's a little bit longer, this flat bar, there are two schools of thought. One is to cut through the short way on the short edge like this, and this can be really effective, and you can cut pretty fast like that. However, it is more likely to bind if you do have residual stress or something else that pulls it together on your wheel. So another approach is to just work your way down through the surface, and you basically score it and then continue to grind your way down through. Now, Jason with Fireball Tool did a little experiment a little while back where he tried both methods and believed that the wheels last longer with this. I think both work pretty well, but you just have to be pretty cautious. Now, if you are going to clean this up, don't grind like that with a cutoff wheel. They're not made to handle a side load. So instead, switch over to a flap disc to deburr. We'll look at flap discs here now. Now, I use these more than anything else, and I use them to dress and finish welds. So I range from 40 to 120 grit. My most commonly used is an 80 grit like this, and that's usually fine enough for the functional things that I do. I'm just going to weld an outside corner joint here with MIG, which is something that I do all the time, whether it's on mitered tubing or just to sheet metal work. And that weld isn't bad. You could probably leave it for a lot of functional things. But if you wanted to dress it up, this is where a flap disc is really nice because it engages that whole surface. It's just a little bit more compliant, and it takes a lot less skill to get that to smooth out than you can with a grind wheel. So it's really nice for that, and you can work your way down through finer grits. So if you're finishing welds, flap disc is my go-to. Now they're also available with a curved edge like this for fillet welds, and I just pulled this out of the scrap bin, a little coupon from a previous video, stick weld. And if you work your way down in with these curved wheels, they can come out really nice and smooth. It's kind of a hassle to do, and it's difficult to do without thinning the material a little bit next to your weld. So I wouldn't do this on all of them, but if you have a special need for a look like this, or if you lay down a stinker, it can be pretty nice. Now this right here is a strip disc, they call them. They're just off of Amazon, and they're pretty cheap. And it's one of my favorite things I've found for weld prep. So it can remove mill scale and rust and those sorts of things really fast without eating into your steel. So I really like it for that. So these are definitely something that's worth keeping on hand. You can see that was just in real time how quick you can prep that surface. One last wheel we'll look at that's especially useful if you run flux processes like stick welding or flux core is a wire wheel. This can just be really useful to finish removing the slag from your weld. Prep it for another pass. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you enjoyed this or learned something, let me know by hitting that thumbs up below. And if you are just getting started with welding, I've put together some affordable online courses linked in the description below that'll walk through step by step and help you to learn so much faster than you can learn on your own, because it really puts some structure to your practice. So be sure to check those out, and we'll see you next time.